Hi everyone and welcome to episode 110 of the Rewarding Property Decisions podcast. We've got a few changes coming about, which we've probably spoken to a few people about. We've mentioned them in a few podcasts over the past year or so, but they are now coming to fruition, I should say, for the Residential Tenancies Act. There's a few changes that are going to be made. So Jordan and I today wanted to go through those. So thanks for joining me, Gordo.
No worries, Jarrod.
So do you want to give us a quick overview to start with as to probably some of the background, some of the changes that have been made, which we'll go over, and then we'll lead into what's going to happen?
Yep, will do. So November 25th, there's a whole suite of changes that are going to be made, regulations and also to the Residential Tenancies Act. And that's sort of the second part of what I think a lot of our clients and a lot of owners of property investors would have been familiar with from over the COVID period, March 2021.
Yes.
There was a bunch that came in, more than 130 of them.
Yeah.
Now, most of those are pretty reasonable. There was stuff like hot and cold running water to kitchens, bathrooms, laundries.
Doesn't seem
pretty
like
basic stuff. No, it's probably aimed more at rooming houses and things like that.
And the issue, I guess, then though, is that are those rooming houses really going to have the crackdowns on them back then?
That's the question.
You're targeting the targets are right, the things that they're trying to do, but are they really hitting the mark?
That's a story for another day.
Correct.
I suppose.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But there are a few that did probably require some investment.
Okay.
From good owners that kept their property in good nick. So those were things around electrical safety, so upgrading switchboards, safety switches, that sort of thing, which is fair enough, but it is an expense. It was sort of $800-900 thereabouts, so that's not immaterial. Having to have blinds on living areas, bedrooms that protected privacy.
They need to be anchored and things and done properly.
That's coming in actually, the anchor
that's
clause.
The new one.
That's okay. Yep. That's fine. That's very inexpensive. But that is an expense, blinds, but you could argue it's necessary. And heating was the other one.
And that's again a
necessity. So we've been working with clients periodically over the last couple of years to the gas-based heater goes, stick a split system in. And I've been saying to clients in the last couple of years, get a good split system in because London to a brick, that it's heating now, and that was in 2021, and it's cooling next. We just need a couple of hot summers, and then
that's going to be the requirement.
That's exactly what's happening. So that's a bit of the background there. A lot of our clients will be well and truly familiar with those, having needed to probably make those necessary changes. But there's a few little. There are others that are coming in at the end of next month, so in about 4 weeks' time, 25th of November, that take that a little further.
Yep.
And I'll quickly run over some of those as well, but not get too bogged down on it, because there's probably 5 that are outside of energy efficiency and things like that that I think we should probably be concentrating on.
Okay.
So some of those coming in, and it's not immediate.
Yep.
They're enacted, so to speak, on the 25th of November, but they're staggered.
Okay.
So I'll just run through a couple of them here. I've just printed off the Consumer Affairs Victoria summary, and there's no point going outside of that. It's a pretty good summary. So heating, hot water. So when hot water services reach the end of their useful life, and heaters, they need to be replaced with energy efficient models and electric as well. And that's kicking in on the 1st of March 2027, so it's giving people a bit of a run in because they're not inexpensive.
Is that 5-star rating sort of stuff? Is that what
there's ratings, so it's different stars. So for instance, heating is 2-star minimum, of which interestingly electric panel heaters don't comply.
Right.
So electric panel heaters in the living room, they're not.
That's not going to be sufficient.
Other things, as I mentioned, cooling.
Yep.
That'll be necessary as of 1st of March 2027. When
so you've got time to. It's coming in as of the end of the next month, but you've got 18 months almost to do that.
To do that, and that's for leases that fall out. Well, there's 1st of March 2027, and there's also 1st of July 2030 for all leases. But the March 2027 one are the start of the rental agreement, or when switching to a periodic. So the 2030 might be, say, if there is a 5-year lease or something like that.
Yes.
Irrespective of the end of the lease, you've got to have it done by
We'll
then.
get to that too, those longer term residential leases in a minute, around some of the impacts on some of these changes.
Yeah. And other things like draft proofing, 1st of July 2027. This is all about improving the energy efficiency of rental properties to minimise the cost for tenants,
Cost of
basically.
living. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look, shower heads as well, ceiling insulation.
Yep.
So we'll get to a few of those things in a moment. There are exemptions that could apply, and these will raise issues. So ceiling insulation, for instance, there'll be situations where that's impractical.
Yeah.
It might be in an apartment block with a
Middle floor.
middle floor. Yeah, exactly. Or even the top floor when it's a
Common
just
property.
Just the not the pitched roof, but you've got your
flat roof.
your flat roof.
You can't get
metal.
up in it.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's really no space to put it in. The other issues we've found over the last couple of years, or I've found working with clients to try to install split system units, is that that's all well and good, but then the owners corp or their committee gets in the way by saying, well, no, we don't want the condensers on this wall. And that might be the wall that is most practical at the front of the building or whatever it might be. So, and there'll be heritage concerns that pop up as well that will be a case by case. So there will be some exemptions, but by and large, no. So that's the energy efficiency
Side of things.
Now, as I said, if you've already got a heater in there that's a split system, well, you probably don't have to worry about the cooling. It's already done.
Yeah.
So that should be reasonably easy to comply with.
Okay, so let's go on to then the new legislation that's coming in and what the big changes here are and how that's going to impact. Because it's not just about probably the living, it's about the legalities around things as well.
Yes, exactly. So again, like with all of these things, there's a whole bunch of them relating to tenant data and data protection and all the rest of it. We don't need to concern ourselves with that. That's property managers, I suppose. And likewise for estate agents, the requirement to have continuing professional development, CBD points, all the rest of it. So that's fine. That's the agents.
More of an industry type thing.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to concern ourselves with that. What I'm interested in is that which can directly affect owners, their property, but complying with changes. And there's probably 5 big ones, 5 main ones that people might rub up against.
All right, well, let's go through them.
Years. So the first one is the repeal of the remaining no reason notice.
Okay.
So in a bunch of these changes in the last couple of years, the 120-day notice, which was basically, I don't have a reason. I don't have to give you a reason.
I just don't like you. You're out.
Yeah, or I might want to use my apartment for storage.
Yeah.
Don't need to give you a reason. That was repealed. The one that remained was the ability to serve a notice to vacate on a tenant before the end of their first lease.
Yeah.
So before it moved into a periodic, or before you decided to sign the tenant up again on a subsequent year.
Yeah.
That's going to go.
Okay.
So what's the impact there? Well, there's nothing we can do about it, but it probably it more than anything, it focuses even more attention on tenant selection.
Yes.
And again, I probably keep coming back to it. Good property manager that does the requisite
due
checks.
diligence and homework. Yeah.
But also, the good senior property managers tend to have a nose for things.
Yeah.
They meet the tenants and they go, look, on paper it looks right, just not so sure.
Something's not right here.
Or they might be able to have a chat to somebody, a peer in their industry at another agency, and say, hey, listen.
What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know?
Yeah.
So that's important to get it right. Unfortunately,
even then, you're still going to get people slip through the net.
Exactly. Yeah, they can look great on paper. The first few months could be great, and then they turn unreasonable.
Yeah.
Well,
the flip side of that, I guess, is that there's landlords and owners that are in the same boat.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's, there's always, it doesn't matter what walk of life, you're going to come up with difficult people.
Yeah.
But try and put as many stops in between that to try and prevent that from happening where you can.
And look, a lot of the purpose of these changes are to tighten up on the unreasonable owners.
Yeah.
People that are basically glorified slumlords.
Yeah, might spend money where it's necessary.
Yep, exactly. Good. So that's the first one.
That's the first one.
No rental bidding. So
That's been in reform already, hasn't it? But they're going next level.
No, not that I'm aware
I thought
of.
you were previously that you it wasn't allowed to be encouraged by a real estate agent, and now it's not actually allowed to be done by a prospective tenant at all.
Yeah, exactly. So just to explain that in a little bit more detail, in a very, very strong rental market, like we're in at the moment and have been for a couple of years, the asking price, the advertised asking price on a rental might be $500 a week.
Yep.
55 people walk through, see the level of competition, and they go, geez, I've missed out on 4 or 5 already. I'm going to have to up this.
Yep.
To put myself ahead of the pack, I'll offer $530 a week, or whatever it might be. As you say, that couldn't be encouraged by the property manager. Now you can't accept it.
Yeah, okay.
So the implications, and I find it difficult at this time of year because for our clients, we're buying, for instance, investment property in the spring with the idea of settling into the early new year.
Which is the prime rental market.
Prime time. Now, our rental comparables looking at August, September, October might suggest a property is worth X.
Yeah.
And that's how we advise our clients. But come January, February, it could be X plus times 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you could protect yourself a little bit and by suggesting, look, this is where it's at. We'll allow a little bit more.
You've just got to be, I think,
as
if you're going into that market, you've just got to be a bit bullish. But if you're going to do that, you've got to be prepared that you might get a hit in the face too that, no, you're asking too much.
Too much. And then you need to pull it back a bit. And so that, look, every time you need to recalibrate your rent like that, well, you're wasting time and you're costing yourself money. But you just might need to put yourself a fair bit ahead, but then be, because we're unable to...
It's probably a bit like some of the analogies we talk about when buying property, where we talk about being prepared to take a step in front of the market, but not take a giant leap. It's a bit the same. Perhaps look at trying to take a step in front of the rental market, but don't go out and take a giant leap where no one's going to pay that.
Yeah, that's it. And look, if you get overwhelmed with, 6 or 7 applications at what you think is an extra ask, like a fair rent plus a little bit more in anticipation that the market could probably bear that. Well, look, so be it.
Yeah, you've still done better than what you probably initially thought.
Yeah, but we can't rely now on the market telling us what it's worth by saying, look, you're saying 500, but I reckon it's worth 530, or I'm prepared to pay that. And then sometimes you can get that from the rental market.
Yeah.
So that's out. A couple of situations where 60-day notices are now moving to 90 days.
This is the third one. Yep.
Yeah, the third one for rent increases.
Yep.
It needs to be 90-day notice.
Okay.
I'm struggling to see how that's going to have a significant impact or anything like that. No. Not really. But for the service of a notice to vacate as well, it's going from 60 to 90 days.
And this is from where it's most relevant is probably from a sale perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously there's other reasons to issue a notice to vacate if you're moving into the property or family members, that sort of thing. But probably for most investors, it's around the intention to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
And particularly around this time of year. So we're obviously doing a lot of preparation from a vendor advisory perspective at the moment for clients looking to sell in the new year. At the moment, we're still okay on the 60 days, but this time next year, it's going to be really interesting because it'll be 90 days.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, the return served from a tenant is still 14 days.
That's my understanding as well.
So you could issue your notice to vacate we normally do early November, so let's say early October, and you could have a vacant property as of the end of October if they moved quickly. Yeah.
So it just means that extra downtime that you need to...
So then the question, I guess, becomes, well, do you just have the property sitting there vacant? I guess that part of that will depend upon what work he needs to do.
Yeah.
Or do you have a crack at trying to sell it before Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. Which traditionally we haven't liked for a lot of property because of the usually the increase in stock, particularly over October. And are you doing yourself a disservice? Are you better off waiting, holding it, accepting that, well, there might be some mortgage repayments, but the cost of extra mortgage repayments for that extra month waiting until early next year, is that likely to be less than going now, finding that you're competing with...
Well, market conditions, and it's just something, as always the case, it's case by case. Don't try and make preemptive decisions. Wait and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's something to bear in mind. Fourth one, and this is an interesting one too for investors. Be fairly warned that your property needs to comply with minimum standards. So those minimum standards that we discussed just a few moments ago, having been brought in 21, and then these new energy efficiency ones, it needs to comply at advertising, not when the tenant moves in.
Right.
So this is going to...
It's more for people almost just buying a property, new property, as an investment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've liked, and for many, many years, probably 20 odd years, we've always
Before
liked...
my time.
we've always liked to insert a special condition, which a lot of our clients are familiar with, an early access sticker, special condition of the contract on purchase, allowing the appointed property manager to be showing prospective tenants through anything up to 21 days before. Technically speaking, we can still do that. But if, for instance, there aren't blinds on the living room windows and we want to use the marketing photos to save our clients a little bit of money by using the existing sale
better
photos.
Quality photos.
And if they don't show, if the photos show windows without blinds, bedrooms, living areas, apparently Consumer Affairs are scrolling through and looking at advertisements and are finding property managers and agents if they see them with it that don't comply. They will be. So all that means is that it might mean that we need to settle and then quickly get the work done. Now, whether or not we can look to get quotes done in the intervening period.
Or could you perhaps not put bedroom photos in?
Yeah.
So that you can advertise.
Living areas as well, though.
It is,
So,
but some of them may have it, some of them may not. So you may be able to not use some of the photos, and then, but still you can't have any open for inspections until it's compliant. But it might mean that you
can't advertise though.
Yeah. But you could, or you can't even advertise.
Can't advertise. So if the advertisement, it gets put up onto realestate.com, for instance, and the living room, like this one I've just opened up on the screen, because this is actually an interesting one in Fitzroy North where we have used sale photos, but they don't have blinds in the living room.
Right.
That's fine now, because we're not at November 25th. In a month's time, that would leave you open to, well, you as the property manager, an agency open to a fine if Consumer Affairs sees this for advertising.
It says no.
Advertisement and says, hey, it's non-compliant, which it seems to me like you're smashing a walnut with a sledgehammer here, because ultimately this is targeted at tenants and ensuring that the tenants are moving into a property that complies. Well, look, there's probably a good counter argument for it, but so long as it's done when the tenant moves in.
Is it making it basically Consumer Affairs making it easier for them to police, perhaps? Because it's harder for them to police if it's not on advertising, if it's just, well, we're going to do it, but then a landlord doesn't do it. Whereas this way, it's, well, we can see that it's not right, so you can't do it.
It's probably a fair call. I mean, the counter argument of that is that, well, tenants know their rights. Tenants can say, hang on a sec.
It's not what it is.
It's not what it is. I'm not moving in. Well, that's well and good, but that's where that assumes there's no power imbalance, I guess. The tenant, if there's 10 other people, I suppose, that have applied for it, they don't want to rock the boat. Correct. So there's probably a good reason for it, but it just needs to be aware of it. It shouldn't be a problem for subsequent leases because you've already done that work and it is compliant. And the fifth one.
Last one.
It's expanding the matters upon which the Consumer Affairs and or VCAT and a new tribunal, a new body that's more a body set up to deal with rental disputes, to try to keep VCAT a little bit clearer because it's become bogged in the last few years.
COVID really put it up it just threw it out the window. The backlog through COVID was ridiculous. Yeah,
and they're calling this, it's a bit clumsily named, the Rental Dispute Resolution Victoria, so RDRV. It's basically getting the two sides to sort of try to nut it out.
Before VCAT.
Before a ruling is, and that's the idea of it. But whichever body looks at it, they're going to be instructed to expand the matters which they need to consider in assessing the reasonableness of rent increases.
Right.
So There's already all sorts of requirements around only one rent increase in every 12-month period, things like that. Now it will be, well, what is the quantum, I suppose, of the... and by the way, at the moment, there's no specific cap on a percentage increase or anything like that. So it's more, if you like, to market. But consideration will be taken into account as to, well, what is that actual increase? Is it an outlandish increase from what's being paid at the moment? Is it going to cause hardship, I suppose, is the idea of this? And also, well, how does that compare with what else is out there for that particular property? And then netted out of that is, have there been any improvements, for instance, to the property that would justify it?
So it's all the more reason for landlords then to keep their properties pretty close to market rents.
Yeah.
Don't let the gap get too wide.
Exactly.
I've got a great tenant, I just want to keep them happy. Yeah, well, that's keep them happy, but don't keep your rent too far off market levels.
There's just that argument for just that incremental increase, and things can get away from you.
Yeah, very quickly.
In a couple of years, you could find yourself having to, and it's never a nice conversation, I suppose, for a property manager to have on behalf of their owner with a tenant that, listen, you're paying $450 a week, but it's got to go to $550.
We've got
$600.
We've got an inquiry that's come in recently of a client that's looking to sell, and so this is not going to be as relevant for them. But the inquiry specifically stipulated that we bought this property for the client, I think it was 17, 18 years ago. It's the same tenant.
Right, yeah.
So there will have been minimal work done to it, and I can nearly guarantee you that the rent will be well and truly below market because it's just because they've been happy with everything that's gone through.
Yeah.
But that's something that everyone wants to keep a tenant and have consistency and not have vacancy, but it also means your property starts to drop off. So when you get to this point, there's going to be a lot more money to be spent.
Yeah, a lot more money, and you would have. It's sort of a vicious circle in a way, that if you've got that continuity of tenant, as you say, it can not deteriorate necessarily, but
just wear and tear.
You
just get that. It's just tradition. I mean, you think if for those that own their own home, you don't just not do anything to your property for 7 or 8 years. You're doing a lot every so often, and a rental property is no different.
No, but it's difficult in justifying an increase on a tenant when the quality of the fit
Correct.
So
nothing's been done.
It's sort of a bit of a gridlock.
It's only market forces, but then not only are you not doing anything, but expectations change over time as well. Yeah. So, and we've seen that a lot with rental properties, and the expectations are a lot higher now than what they were 15 years ago when I started doing this. So, which is fair enough, but it also means that if you haven't done any work for that long, the property's going to be dragging.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing too, just to finish off on that point, is the need. It's not just sort of the vibe of the thing, in that, oh well, look, I reckon it's about $550, it's about $850. See if the tenant see if we'll squeeze until the pips start to fall out of the lemon. Yeah. Well, no, it's got to be justified. Yeah. And much like, I suppose, in our former lives as valuers, you say the property is worth this, you need to justify it with these, and the same will come with even more so with not just throwing 20 two-bedroom apartments within a 1K radius, but genuine justification for why that rent increase is reasonable, and there'll be a greater focus on the reasonableness and the justification for that. So these are all things that when clients ring up, pick up the phone and have a chat with me, what sort of rent increase should we go to? Is there justification for it? The property manager might be saying one thing, what do you think? First thing you look at is, well, if it's vacant today and it's going back onto the rental market, what is the market rent? Then we can calibrate it from there. Yep. Yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty good. Thanks, Jordan. That's a really good summary, and there's some really good points there. Those 5 major ones, I guess, are things to keep an eye on. And if you'd like to have a chat about those, obviously give us a call, and we can see how they apply, if at all, to your properties. But that'll be about it. Thanks, Gordo. Thanks for coming.
No worries.
That's episode 110 of the Rewarding Property Decisions podcast. As always, please feel free to share the podcast far and wide. Keep subscribing to the YouTube channel and to whatever podcast provider you enjoy. Otherwise, if you'd like further information, visit our website, wakelin.com.au. Otherwise, we wish you all the best with your property decisions.